Have you ever walked into a room and felt every pair of eyes silently turn to you, even if no one said a word? Have you noticed how some people shift uncomfortably in your presence, as if your existence alone demands something they're not ready to give? If you've ever felt like your presence speaks louder than your words, like the air changes when you enter a space, you're not imagining it. That's your aura, and for some it's overwhelming. There's a silent force inside you, one that doesn't need permission to be felt. It radiates through your thoughts, your confidence, your silence. It's not about looks, not about status. It's something deeper, something primal. Some call it energy. Others call it soul. But whatever name you give it, the truth remains. You carry something powerful within you, and not everyone knows how to handle it. You weren't made to blend in. You weren't built to be small. But when your light shines too bright, it can expose the shadows others try to hide. Your strength becomes a mirror, reflecting what others are running from. That's why they look at you with confusion, admiration, or even fear. Your aura doesn't ask for attention. It commands it, without a word, without a gesture. And that kind of power disturbs people who haven't found theirs yet. The world doesn't always reward quiet power. People are taught to value volume, noise, performance, but your energy moves differently. You influence without speaking. You impact without trying. You exist in a way that forces others to reconsider themselves. And that's where discomfort begins. For them, not you. Because your presence breaks unspoken rules. It challenges people to either rise up or shrink back. And when they choose the latter, they often blame you for the way they feel. But that's not your burden to carry. That's the price of being real in a world addicted to pretending. You might have spent years wondering why you don't fit in, why people pull away, why your silence makes others nervous. But what if you were never meant to fit into their boxes? What if you were meant to break them? You don't need to chase validation. You don't need to explain your worth. Your aura already speaks for you. And if it makes people uncomfortable, let it. Because the ones who are meant for you, the ones who are ready, won't just feel your energy. They'll rise with it. You weren't born to play small just so others can feel safe in your presence. You weren't designed to shrink your soul to make space for fragile egos. You were born to expand, to stretch the limits of your own power, to shake the ground a little when you walk, and yes, to disturb the ones still clinging to the comfort of the familiar. This isn't about arrogance. It's about truth, your truth, and truth by nature disrupts. It stirs what's stagnant. It rattles what's fake. That's why people feel something when they're around you, even if they can't put it into words. And if you've ever felt tired from carrying all this invisible weight, from sensing every shift in energy, from being the one who always sees more and feels deeper, know this: you're not broken. You're not too much. You're just powerful. And that power has always been there, waiting for you to trust it. This is your reminder. Your energy matters. Your presence has meaning. You're not here to water yourself down. You're here to rise, to lead, to remind others what alignment looks like. And yes, sometimes that means being misunderstood, feared, or even envied. But don't let that dim you. Don't let that harden you. Let it sharpen you. If you've ever felt the heaviness of your own light, keep watching. Because what's coming next will remind you exactly why you shine the way you do and why the world needs you to stay unapologetically powerful. The moment you realize your presence shifts the atmosphere, you begin to understand something most people never will. Energy speaks before words ever do. Long before anyone hears your voice, they feel your intention. Long before they know your story, they sense your strength. That's what makes your aura so undeniable. It's not about being loud, it's about being real. And realness is rare. Rare enough to be misunderstood. Powerful enough to be feared. You carry a frequency that many people haven't grown into, and because they can't define it, they try to diminish it. But energy doesn't lie. It can't be faked. And yours, it carries truth. It carries clarity. It carries the quiet confidence of someone who has been through enough darkness to finally understand their own light. That light now radiates without permission. It moves through rooms and into minds. It interrupts patterns. It awakens what others are trying to suppress. This is why people react the way they do. It's not random. It's energetic. When you walk with purpose, you disrupt those who walk with pretense. When your soul is aligned, it stirs those still lost in confusion. Not because you're trying to prove anything, but because you're living proof that healing, growth, and inner strength are real and possible. People feel safe in the presence of chaos because it matches their internal world. But when they meet someone like you, someone grounded, aware, intentional, it forces them to confront their own imbalance. And let's be honest, not everyone's ready for that. So instead of rising, they resist. Instead of learning, they label. They call you intense, intimidating, cold. But deep down, what they're really saying is this: you make me feel something I'm not ready to face. That's what powerful energy does. It reveals what's hidden. It brings things to the surface. And not everyone is willing to meet themselves at that level. But don't let their discomfort convince you to hide your light. You were never meant to make yourself smaller so others could avoid their own reflection. The world has enough noise, enough surface level connection. What it lacks is depth, presence, authenticity. And that's what you bring. That's what your aura carries. It's not always easy. It can be lonely, heavy, exhausting. But understand this: the ones who are repelled by your energy aren't your enemies. They're just not ready. And the ones who are drawn to you, they're searching for what you already embody. Your presence reminds people of what's possible when you stop pretending, when you stop performing, when you finally choose to align with who you really are. That choice radiates outward. It's felt, not explained, and it makes people question their own choices, their own paths. That's the ripple effect of authentic energy. It doesn't just touch people, it transforms them. So if you've ever felt isolated in your power, if you've ever wondered why you keep attracting resistance, it's because power without pretense shakes things loose. You're not here to be liked by everyone. You're here to be true. And truth doesn't come to please, it comes to wake people up. You might not get applause, you might not get instant recognition, but that's never been the point. Your energy doesn't perform for claps, it aligns for purpose. And purpose isn't always popular, but it's what you came here for. You didn't go through everything you've endured just to dim yourself now. You didn't heal just to return to who you were. You rose to become someone others would feel even before they heard your name. That's the gift. And yes, it's also the weight. But when you stop resisting it, when you accept that your energy was never meant to fit into anyone's comfort zone, you begin to move differently. You stop apologizing for being aware. You stop over-explaining your boundaries. You stop shrinking your spirit for the sake of approval. You start standing taller, speaking less, but saying more. You start showing others what alignment looks like by living it, breathing it, being it. So don't quiet your power. Don't question your impact. Your aura is a force that disrupts for a reason. It's meant to wake the sleeping, remind the forgotten, and lead the willing. Not everyone will understand you, and they don't need to. The ones who are meant to walk with you will feel you. They'll recognize the vibration, and together you'll move in truth. You don't disturb others because you're too much. You disturb them because they're still hiding. And your energy? It's the call to rise. Let it ring. Let it echo. Let it be what it was always meant to be, unshakable, undeniable, unforgettable. You've spent your life learning how to carry energy that others can't even recognize. You've had to walk through doubt, fear, and misunderstanding just to stand in your own truth. But what if every challenge, every rejection, every strange reaction you've received was never about something being wrong with you, but something strong in you? Because when your aura carries clarity, it threatens confusion. When your soul vibrates at a higher frequency, it disturbs the noise. You don't even have to say anything. Your energy speaks volumes. And not everyone is ready to hear it. That's why you've been labeled. That's why people try to put you in boxes that don't fit. You're not hard to love. You're just hard to control. And people fear what they can't control. They fear what challenges the script they've been following. You're not playing a role. You're living a reality, one that was built from the inside out. That's why your presence hits differently. When you enter a room, you don't blend in, you shift it. That's not arrogance. That's awareness. You've done the work. You've looked within. You've chosen growth over comfort, truth over illusion, solitude over fake connection. And now you radiate the kind of energy that holds power without needing to prove it. But with that kind of presence comes resistance. Because people aren't used to that level of real. They're used to performance, they're used to masks, but you don't wear one. And when someone like you shows up, raw, grounded, whole, it makes people question the image they've been protecting. That discomfort they feel, it's not your fault, it's their awakening. You don't just walk through the world, you move it. And when others feel that movement, they'll either rise with it or recoil from it. Some will admire you, some will attack you. Both reactions come from the same place, recognition. They recognize that you carry something untamed, something that refuses to be molded by fear or watered down by doubt, something that tells the truth without needing permission. That's why your aura feels intense. It's not aggressive, it's alive, it's charged with intention, it's rooted in alignment, and it's a mirror to everyone you meet. Some will be inspired by that reflection. Others will be intimidated, but either way, they won't forget it. There's a cost to being powerful, and it's not always applause or validation. Sometimes it's silence, sometimes it's distance, sometimes it's the lonely road of walking in your own light while the world stumbles in shadows. But here's the truth, your path isn't meant to be easy. It's meant to be real, and real leaves a mark. You don't have to explain your energy to those who were never meant to understand it. You don't have to tone down your presence to protect the fragile. You don't have to make yourself small to be accepted by the masses. That's not your purpose. You are here to be fully expressed, fully present, fully you. And if that makes people uncomfortable, so be it. Let your aura speak, let it challenge, let it awaken, because the ones who are ready, they'll feel it, they'll know, and they'll rise. The world doesn't need more people pretending to be okay. It doesn't need more voices echoing the same safe message. It needs souls like yours, bold, aware, magnetic. Souls who have the courage to disturb the pattern, not because they want to cause chaos, but because they are the calm within it. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to be felt. Remember that every time someone misunderstands your silence, every time someone feels uneasy around your calm, every time someone reacts with discomfort to your truth, that's confirmation, not condemnation. That's proof that your energy is working exactly as it's meant to. You are a living reminder that authenticity still exists, that power can be quiet, that presence doesn't need permission, and that light, real light, never begs to be seen. It reveals what's hidden. So keep walking with that knowing, keep showing up with that energy, keep disturbing what no longer deserves peace. You are not here to comfort the asleep. You're here to wake the willing, to be a force, to carry a frequency that shifts not just people, but entire atmospheres. And the more you own it, the stronger it gets. The more you trust it, the clearer it becomes. You don't need to search for your place. You are the place, the space, the presence, the power. Let it be felt, let it be misunderstood, let it be unstoppable. You've carried this energy your whole life. Even when you didn't understand it, it was there, working through you, speaking louder than your voice ever could. And now you're starting to recognize the truth. You were never meant to be ordinary. The way you feel everything so deeply, the way you notice what others miss, the way your presence speaks before your mouth opens. That's not a coincidence, that's alignment. Your aura was built through experience. It's been shaped by silence, tested by pain, strengthened by solitude. You didn't just wake up powerful, you earned it. Every wound became wisdom. Every setback became structure. Every time you chose integrity over approval, your energy elevated. And now people feel it. Even if they don't know why, even if they can't explain it. You're not intense, you're clear, you're not intimidating, you're focused. You're not distant, you're discerning. There's a difference. And people who haven't done the inner work can't always see that. They confuse your peace with arrogance. They see your boundaries as walls. But the truth is, you've just stopped entertaining anything that drains your soul. That kind of self-awareness radiates. It travels through your energy field. It creates an invisible line that says, I don't chase, I don't beg, I don't shrink, I know who I am. And when you move like that, it disrupts everything built on insecurity. It makes noise in places that were built to stay quiet. You don't even have to try. Just being you is enough. But with that awareness comes responsibility. Because the stronger your energy becomes, the more people project onto it. Some will see you as a threat, not because you've done anything wrong, but because your light confronts their shadows. Your freedom challenges their conformity. Your presence makes them question their own. And that's not something everyone is ready to face. You're not here to carry their discomfort. You're not here to absorb their fear. You're here to walk in truth, to hold your energy sacred, and to remember this one thing: your power is not up for negotiation. When you start to live in full alignment, you start to repel anything that's not meant for you. You'll notice people fall away, opportunities fade, conversations end. That's not loss, that's clarity. That's your aura clearing the path for what actually supports your growth. It's not rejection, it's redirection. Protection in motion. You can't build a powerful life while tolerating what weakens your spirit. That's why your energy feels so disruptive to others, because it doesn't tolerate what they've normalized. It doesn't entertain what they've justified. You're a reminder that there's another way, a higher way. And that reminder either inspires people to rise or triggers them to resist. But none of that changes who you are. You don't adjust your frequency to make others feel comfortable in their avoidance. You don't dim your truth so someone else can continue living in denial. You rise anyway. You speak anyway. You exist in fullness anyway. And if that causes others to shift, so be it. You are not responsible for how people respond to your growth. You are only responsible for not shrinking in order to be accepted. Because every time you choose your power over your people-pleasing patterns, you get stronger. Every time you honor your intuition over external noise, your energy expands. And the more you expand, the more you attract what's meant for you. This is the power of your aura. It's not just presence, it's a signal, it's a magnet. It's a declaration. I know who I am, and I refuse to betray that truth just to belong. You don't belong in rooms that ask you to betray yourself. You don't belong in relationships that require your silence. You don't belong in spaces that only accept you when you're edited. You belong where your energy is not only seen, but celebrated. And if you haven't found those places yet, keep walking, keep radiating. Keep showing up as the unfiltered, unshakable version of you. You're not too much, you're just too true. And truth will always disturb what's been built on denial. That's not your fault, that's your gift, use it. Let your aura do what it was created to do. Disrupt, awaken, elevate. Because the ones who are meant for you will never be afraid of your light. They'll step into it, they'll rise with it, they'll recognize it. And in that moment, you'll know all the discomfort, all the misunderstanding, all the isolation was worth it. Because you never lost yourself. You just made room for the life that finally meets you where you are, fully aligned, fully seen, fully powerful. There comes a point when you stop explaining yourself and start embodying your truth. You stop needing approval because you finally approved of yourself. You stop seeking permission because you've realized no one else holds the key to your destiny. That is when your aura becomes untouchable, unmistakable, unapologetic. You've been taught to make others comfortable, to soften your edges, to tone it down so you don't come off the wrong way. But what if your power isn't meant to be palatable? What if your energy isn't supposed to be easy for everyone to digest? What if your very existence is meant to challenge, to stretch, to awaken? This world conditions people to seek acceptance, not alignment. It rewards fitting in, not standing out. But your spirit was never here for that. You weren't made to hide. You weren't made to blend in. You were made to be felt, to take up space without guilt, to speak with silence, to move with intention, to remind others without even trying that freedom is real and so is power. And the more you walk in that knowing, the more you realize how many people have never seen what that looks like. They're used to diluted energy, conditional love, controlled behavior. When you show up unfiltered, it feels unfamiliar to them. That unfamiliarity doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're rare. You're not here to be familiar. You're here to be authentic. Because authenticity creates waves. It exposes what's fake. It tears down the need to pretend. And that's not always comfortable. Not for you, not for them. But it's necessary. Necessary for growth. Necessary for truth. Necessary for the kind of transformation that doesn't just touch lives, it reshapes them. You may not always be understood, but you will be remembered. People won't forget the way your energy made them feel. They won't forget the sense of clarity they felt in your presence, even if they couldn't name it. Because when someone with a strong aura enters the room, it does something. It shifts frequency. It clears space. It invites honesty. And whether people embrace that or run from it says everything about them, not you. So don't dim to become digestible. Don't shrink to fit into places your soul has outgrown. You've done the inner work. You've faced your shadows. You've sat with your silence and listened to the voice inside that never lies. That voice is your compass. That energy is your power. And your power isn't up for debate. Your growth will make people uncomfortable because it challenges their comfort zone. Your strength will be labeled as intimidating by those who haven't found theirs yet. But that's not a reason to step back. That's a sign to keep going. Because the moment you start hiding again, is the moment you betray the very path you were born to walk. You are not here to play small. You are not here to make everyone else feel okay while you remain unseen. You are here to rise so loudly that others feel safe to rise too, to lead by example, to show what it means to stand in your full power, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's misunderstood, even when it's too much for people who are still living in fragments. The world doesn't change because of followers. It changes because of those willing to disturb the system, disturb the norms, disturb the silence, and you don't need to shout to be one of them. Your energy speaks louder than noise ever could. When your aura is powerful, it acts like a mirror. Some people will see their potential reflected back to them and feel inspired. Others will see their fear, their avoidance, their smallness, and instead of doing the inner work, they'll attack the mirror. But don't let their reaction distort your reflection. Keep standing, keep speaking, even if it's only through your presence. Keep radiating, even if no one claps. Keep honoring the truth that lives inside of you, even if it distances you from the familiar. Because what you're walking toward is greater than what you're walking away from. You're not just protecting your energy, you're owning it. And that's what makes all the difference. When you own your power, you stop reacting, you start choosing, you stop explaining, you start embodying. You become a living standard of what alignment, strength, and presence truly look like. Let the world adjust your frequency. Let them feel the shift. Let them rise or fall away. Either way, your energy remains intact, whole, grounded, true. You are not too much, you are exactly enough. And those who are ready for your light will not only embrace it, they'll expand because of it. That's the ripple effect of a powerful aura. And you were born to create it. Once you stop apologizing for your energy, everything changes. You stop walking into rooms wondering how to make yourself less visible and start walking in knowing your presence is a message. You stop filtering your truth to keep the peace and start realizing that your authenticity is the peace because it brings alignment, even if it causes disruption. You're no longer available for anything that requires you to be half of yourself. The people who misunderstand your energy were never meant to carry it. And the people who are threatened by your strength were never meant to walk beside it. Not everyone is ready to be around someone who refuses to wear a mask, but don't let that cause you to question the power you've built. Don't forget how hard you've worked to become this clear, this calm, this unshakable. You were forged through fire, not fear. You didn't get here by accident. You got here by choosing growth over comfort 1,000 times. You chose to show up when quitting would have been easier. You chose to heal when it would have been simpler to stay numb. You chose to stand alone rather than stand with those who made you feel unseen. Every one of those choices shaped the energy people feel when they meet you now. That's why it's so strong. That's why it leaves an imprint. Your aura holds every lesson, every scar, every moment where you decided to rise when everything was trying to pull you down. It carries truth. It carries history. It carries soul. And you don't have to explain it. You don't have to defend it. You just have to own it. Because the more grounded you become in your truth, the less you tolerate distortion. You stop entertaining fake conversations. You stop absorbing chaos that doesn't belong to you. You stop giving energy to people who only show up when it benefits them. That's not being distant. It's being discerning. And there's power in that. The kind of power that makes people pay attention even when you say nothing at all. Your silence holds weight because it's not empty. It's full of intention. Your stillness radiates power because it's rooted in clarity. And people who live in distraction can feel that. That's why they stare longer. That's why they question you more. That's why they feel unsettled around you. You're not following the script. You're writing your own. And that's threatening to those who've never dared to question the one they were handed. But you didn't come here to be comfortable. You came here to grow. You didn't come here to be agreeable. You came here to be authentic. And real authenticity always comes with a cost. Sometimes that cost is connection. Sometimes it's validation. Sometimes it's being misunderstood. But what you gain in return is priceless. Peace, power, alignment, and self-respect. You no longer need to convince anyone of your worth. You no longer need to prove your value by staying in places that drain your soul. If someone doesn't recognize your frequency, it's not your job to lower it. It's your job to protect it. Because your energy is sacred. It's the result of everything you've overcome. And it's not meant to be diluted so others can feel more comfortable in their confusion. Let them feel disturbed. Let them feel unsure. Let them feel the shift. That's how they grow. That's how they begin to wake up. because your presence is a trigger for transformation. You show people what's possible when you choose truth over comfort. And even if they resist it now, they will remember you. They will remember how you made them feel, not because of what you said, but because of who you were. You are a reminder that freedom is an energy, that strength doesn't have to scream, that power doesn't need permission. And in a world full of noise, your clarity is rare. In a world full of compromise, your boundaries are rare. In a world full of distraction, your depth is rare. That's why your aura is so powerful. And that's why it shakes people. It's not too much, it's necessary. You were never meant to keep the peace by sacrificing your soul. You were meant to be a disruption, a shift, a frequency that can't be ignored, and the more you accept that, the more unstoppable you become. Because when your energy is in alignment, everything around you responds. Not always with applause, not always with comfort, but always with truth. And that's what you're here for, not to be liked, not to be understood, but to be real. Keep moving in that power, keep protecting your space, keep choosing your truth. Because the more you stay rooted in who you are, the more everything not aligned with that truth falls away. And what's left, what stays, is what was always meant to be in your field. Strong, aligned, unshakable, just like you. When you realize the strength of your presence, you stop asking for room, you start creating it. You no longer look for places to fit in because you understand you were never meant to blend. You were meant to lead, to stand out, to be the example of what's possible when someone refuses to settle for a watered-down version of themselves. That's what makes your aura powerful. It's not loud, it's not aggressive, it's certain. And certainty is magnetic. It draws in those who are ready to rise and repels those who are still afraid to. You don't have to do anything extra to be seen. Your energy introduces you long before you speak. It carries the weight of your choices, your growth, your transformation. It carries the stillness of someone who has made peace with themselves. And that kind of peace, it shakes everything built on noise. You've become a mirror, whether you meant to or not. And people react to that mirror in different ways. Some lean in because they recognize themselves in your strength. Others turn away because they see what they've been avoiding, but none of that is yours to carry. Their discomfort is not your burden. Their fear is not your flaw. You weren't put here to make people feel safe in their limitations. You were put here to be a reminder that freedom has a frequency, and you live in it. You don't owe anyone softness just because they can't handle your strength. You don't have to hold back your depth just because others prefer the surface. You've worked too hard to unlearn who you were told to be. You've shed too many layers to go back to shrinking. That's why you walk differently now. That's why your silence feels like presence. That's why you're felt before you're heard, because you become aligned. And alignment is rare. Most people are still searching for what you've already claimed. They're living on autopilot, stuck in identities that were never truly theirs. You broke that cycle. You questioned everything. You stopped pretending. That's why your energy is so strong. It's rooted in truth, not borrowed truth, your truth. You don't have to compete. You don't have to compare. You don't even have to explain. Because when your aura is rooted in truth, it becomes undeniable. Even those who pretend not to notice can't forget how you made them feel. You left a mark, not because of what you did, but because of who you were being. Fully, boldly, unapologetically. You've stopped chasing peace because you became peace. You stopped seeking validation because you became validation. And when people sense that in you, they either rise or retreat. That's not rejection, that's clarity. That's alignment doing its job, filtering what no longer belongs in your field. You were never meant to carry everyone with you. You were meant to walk in your purpose without begging anyone to understand it. The ones who are meant for you will feel your energy and recognize it, not just admire it, match it. They won't be disturbed by your presence. They'll be awakened by it. But that only happens when you stay true, when you refuse to shrink, when you hold your ground in a world that profits from your confusion. And that's what makes your aura so impactful. It's not about perfection. It's about honesty. It's about being so real, so rooted, that you give others permission to come home to themselves too. That's why people can't forget you. You didn't entertain. You didn't perform. You simply existed in truth. And in a world full of masks, that kind of authenticity is unforgettable. That's what they remember. Not your words, your energy, not what you said, what you made them feel. And if that makes others uncomfortable, let it. If it rattles their image, let it. If it causes distance, let it. Because you didn't come here to play a role, you came here to embody your soul. And the more you do, the more unstoppable you become. Keep holding that energy, keep walking with that fire. Don't let the world tame what was born to be wild. Don't let small minds shrink your big spirit. Don't let the weight of being misunderstood make you betray your essence. You are not here to be tolerated. You are here to be felt, seen, respected, remembered. And the more you own your energy, the more the world rearranges itself around your frequency. Not because you forced it, but because you finally became it. You are the shift. You are the standard. You are the reminder that truth is the most powerful energy in the world. Let them feel it. Let them question it. Let them rise because of it. Some people won't understand the power you carry because they've never seen someone refuse to conform. They've never met someone who stands fully in their energy without needing approval, without apologizing for their depth, without softening who they are to keep the peace. That's why your presence feels disruptive, because you don't play by the same rules. You've broken free from what keeps most people silent, and that freedom is loud, even in your quiet. You don't just enter a room, you shift it. And that shift isn't always welcomed because it calls for something more. It calls for awareness, for honesty, for a level of self-reflection. Most people spend their lives avoiding. You're not just a person, they experience you as a catalyst. And when someone has built their identity around fitting in, your presence challenges everything they think they know about themselves. That's what real power does. It doesn't beg to be liked. It doesn't ask for understanding. It simply is. And those who are ready will rise to meet it. But those who aren't will try to resist it. They'll label you, distance themselves, maybe even criticize you, not because of something you did, but because your very existence makes them feel what they've buried. Let them. You were never meant to carry their projections. You're not here to absorb their confusion. You're here to hold your energy with dignity. You're here to walk with clarity and purpose, no matter who can't handle the vibration you bring. That vibration is the result of inner work, of becoming conscious, of choosing alignment over comfort. And there is nothing passive about that. Every time you say no to what doesn't honor you, your aura sharpens. Every time you choose peace over chaos, your energy becomes more refined. Every time you step away from what drains you, your frequency rises. That's why people feel something around you that they can't explain. You've become magnetic not because you tried to be, but because you've cleared everything that dulled your light. And now that it shines, it shows people what they've forgotten about themselves. Your energy is a message. This is what it looks like to know yourself. This is what it feels like to stand in your truth. This is what becomes possible when you stop performing and start being. And the people who are meant for you won't just be impressed by it. They'll feel safe in it, seen by it, empowered through it. But you have to keep holding your standard. You have to keep honoring your growth, even when it isolates you, even when it feels easier to go back to the familiar. Because the cost of betraying your energy is far greater than the discomfort of standing alone. You've come too far. You've evolved too much. You've lost too many pieces of yourself just to rebuild again, to ever go back to who you were before. So now you lead with presence. You move with intention. You speak with purpose, or not at all. You choose your peace over popularity. And while the world might not always understand that, the right people will. The right opportunities will. The right paths will open. Not because you forced them, but because you aligned with them. This is what happens when your energy no longer chases, it attracts. It no longer pleads, it commands. And what it commands isn't attention, it's respect, the kind that isn't asked for, but naturally given. The kind that follows someone who knows who they are and doesn't flinch when that truth is challenged. Let others be confused by your clarity. Let them talk. Let them question. Let them watch you stand tall in what they can't yet comprehend. Because you're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to become everything you were always meant to be, whether they get it or not. Your aura will keep disrupting what's unhealed. It will keep rattling comfort zones. It will keep calling out what's fake. That's the nature of energy born from truth. It doesn't just exist, it transforms. And transformation is never comfortable. So stop expecting comfort. Stop looking for safety in people who fear their own light. You are not too intense. You are not too deep. You are simply fully awake in a world that's still learning how to open its eyes. Let that be your power. Let it guide you. Let it keep you grounded when the world wants you confused. Let it remind you in the moments you doubt that this isn't just about being different. It's about being real. And real is what this world needs now more than ever. You don't have to explain your energy. Just live it. Let your aura be the revolution it was born to be. There is a quiet kind of power in knowing you don't need to explain who you are. a strength in your stillness, a clarity in your silence. You've reached a level where your presence speaks so loudly you no longer feel the urge to prove anything to anyone. And that unnerves people who are still chasing validation, because your very existence says, I've already found what you're still looking for. That truth is unsettling to some, not because you've done anything wrong, but because you've done what few are willing to do. You've stopped looking outward and turned inward. You've stopped asking who you should be and started remembering who you already are. And in doing so, you've become whole. Wholeness doesn't require decoration. It doesn't need to be dressed up to impress. It's powerful because it's complete. And your aura reflects that. The ones who haven't met themselves yet will always feel uneasy in the presence of someone who has. They feel the weight of your alignment, the pressure of your peace. The calm you carry is deafening to those addicted to chaos, and they won't always know how to react. Some will admire you, some will avoid you, some will even try to silence you. Not because they dislike you, but because your truth speaks too clearly in a world that thrives on confusion. Let them. Because the power you hold wasn't made to be hidden, it was made to disrupt. It was made to shake the dust off the places people have buried themselves. That's why you feel different, why you've never been able to fit into spaces that required you to dim. Your energy isn't meant to be compressed, it's meant to expand, to stretch, to shift the air when you walk in. And the more you accept that, the less you'll seek to be understood by those who fear that shift. You don't need everyone to understand your path. It's not for them. Your evolution was built in private. It was carved out through loneliness, through silence, through decisions only you had to live with. Nobody else felt the weight of what you've carried. Nobody else saw what you had to let go of to finally step into this version of yourself. So no, explanations are not required. Permission is not necessary. You've risen from places most people wouldn't survive. You've turned pain into power, doubt into direction, silence into wisdom. And now that you carry the vibration of someone who knows their worth, some people will feel exposed in your presence because your confidence highlights their insecurity. Your peace exposes their internal war. But you are not responsible for shrinking just to make others feel better about staying small. You are not rude for protecting your space. You are not distant for choosing solitude over drama. You are not intimidating for refusing to betray your boundaries. You are aligned. And that alignment is sacred. It took everything to get here. You've lost people. You've lost versions of yourself. You've walked away from comfort just to stay true to your soul. That's not weakness. That's discipline. That's evolution. That's power. People will project onto what they don't understand. Let them. You are not here to manage their perceptions. You are here to embody your truth so fully that it liberates others to do the same. And the ones who are meant for you won't be disturbed by your energy. They'll be drawn to it. Not because it makes them feel safe, but because it challenges them to rise, to look deeper, to be more. You don't inspire by pleasing people. You inspire by being real, by refusing to bend when life pressures you to break, by staying rooted when everything around you is shifting. That steadiness, that unshakable presence is what people remember. And even if they can't put it into words, they feel it. They feel you. So keep walking in your truth, even when it makes others uncomfortable. Keep speaking with your energy even when your voice is silent. Keep radiating the kind of strength that can't be faked. You're not here to make noise. You're here to make impact. And real impact doesn't always get applause. Sometimes it gets misunderstood. Sometimes it gets resistance. But if you can hold your energy through that, if you can keep showing up grounded and whole, then you become unstoppable. Because the world can't shake someone who's already anchored from within. You are the frequency that reminds others of what's possible. You are the vibration that rattles cages. You are the energy that doesn't just take up space, it transforms it. And if that disturbs the ones still living in the comfort of their own denial, so be it. You were never meant to leave people unchanged. You were meant to leave them awakened. Let your aura keep doing exactly that. Not everyone will be ready for the version of you that no longer seeks acceptance. The moment you stop asking for space and start claiming it, everything shifts. You move from needing validation to being your own authority. You stop looking for signs that you belong and begin to walk like you know you do. And that kind of energy can't be ignored. It stirs something in people. It challenges their limits, exposes their fear, and awakens their truth. You are no longer the version of yourself that tolerated small talk, small thinking, or small energy just to be polite. You've learned that shrinking doesn't serve anyone, not you, not them. You've learned that your light was never meant to blend in. It was meant to illuminate. And sometimes illumination means others will have to confront the shadows they've tried to hide. You don't apologize for that. You don't soften your voice so others feel more comfortable in their silence. You don't carry the weight of people's discomfort as if it were your own. Because your aura isn't heavy. It's honest. And honesty has a frequency. It's raw. It's direct. It cuts through masks and gets to the core. That's what your presence does. It doesn't tiptoe. It doesn't dilute. It walks in truth and dares everything around it to meet that same standard. There is a reason why people hesitate around those who have done the work. You can't lie to someone who sees with their soul. You can't pretend with someone who has already walked through fire and come out gold. Your energy is sharp because it's been forged, refined by rejection, tempered by solitude, strengthened by self-respect. And now it commands a space even when you say nothing at all. Let them feel it. Let them pause when they meet your gaze. Let them reconsider their own values after hearing your silence. Because you are no longer just a person, they experience you as a shift, a recalibration, a mirror reflecting what they haven't yet chosen to face. That's why they call you intense. That's why they mistake your clarity for arrogance, your peace for distance, your self-assuredness for ego. But deep down, they know your energy is real. And real always reveals what's been hidden. You didn't get here by accident. You earned this presence. You earned it through the nights you cried in silence, through the battles no one saw, through the choices that cost you comfort but gave you freedom. And now that you've tasted that freedom, you refuse to settle for anything less. You refuse to explain your standards. You refuse to lower your frequency just to be more palatable. Because your energy is your responsibility. And protecting it is not selfish. It's sacred. So when people back away, let them. When they misunderstand you, let them. Or when they say you've changed, thank them. Because you weren't made to stay the same. You were made to evolve. And with every layer you shed, your aura becomes more potent, more grounded, more undeniable. There is a quiet kind of rebellion in living fully as yourself, in not dimming your truth, in not adjusting your pace for those who've chosen stagnation. That's the kind of power that doesn't scream, it doesn't demand. It simply is. And it disrupts everything that isn't aligned with it. You're not here to fix anyone. You're not here to drag people into their healing. You're here to be a living example of what's possible when you stop apologizing for your existence. And the people who are ready will find you. Not because you chased them, but because your energy called them home to themselves. Keep honoring that. Keep walking in that truth even when the road gets quiet. Even when it feels lonely, because that loneliness is just the space being cleared for what's meant to meet you at your frequency. You don't need the crowd, you need alignment. And once you're fully aligned, the right people can't miss you. Your energy will continue to unsettle the unready. That's not your burden to carry, it's your gift to offer. Let it do what it was born to do. Let it awaken, let it challenge, let it inspire, because every time you choose authenticity over approval, you give others permission to do the same. You become the reminder that it's possible to live fully, speak honestly, and still walk with grace. That is the true power of your aura. Not in how loud it is, but in how deeply it moves people. Not in how many follow you, but in how many awaken because of you. And no matter who misunderstands that, don't flinch, don't shrink, don't turn the volume down. You are here to be felt. Let the world feel you. The world tries to tame what it does not understand. It tries to categorize, to contain, to control. But you were not made to be tamed. You were made to wake people up. Your aura disrupts not because it's aggressive, but because it is free. And in a world where conformity is rewarded, freedom terrifies. Especially the kind of freedom that doesn't seek permission. The kind that rises without validation. The kind that stands without applause. Your energy is not loud because it needs attention. It's loud because it carries truth. A truth that cannot be softened, edited, or reshaped to fit the comfort zones of others. And that truth carries weight. The moment you step into a room, people can feel the difference. There's no pretense, no mask, no performance, just presence, real, raw, whole. You've earned the right to show up like that. You've earned the right to no longer hide. People sense that power before they understand it. And when they can't define it, they project onto it. They may call you intimidating, too intense, too much, but what they're really saying is, I've never seen someone so unapologetically themselves, and I don't know how to handle that. Don't internalize their confusion. Don't absorb their fear. That reaction isn't about you. It's about everything inside them that still craves approval, everything inside them that hasn't yet tasted freedom. You are a mirror. You reflect back the parts of people they've been running from. That's why your presence is either magnetic or repelling. It forces a choice, evolve or retreat, grow or stay small, step into authenticity or continue to live in pretense. And not everyone is ready for that choice. But you didn't come here to be accepted. You came here to shine, to lead, to shake what's stagnant. And that requires standing firm in who you are, even when it makes others uncomfortable. Do not misinterpret rejection as failure. It's refinement. Every time you're misunderstood, you're being directed toward deeper alignment. Every closed door is a reminder that your energy is sacred, and it's not meant for every space. You're not here to knock. You're here to build, to walk through doors designed for the frequency you carry, not the frequency you've outgrown. And yes, that journey can be isolating. Growth often is. But isolation is not emptiness. It's expansion. It's where clarity is born. It's where the noise quiets long enough for you to hear your soul again. And once you hear that voice clearly, nothing outside you can confuse you again. You don't need the crowd when you have the compass. You don't need the approval when you have the knowing. The moment you stop betraying yourself to belong, you begin to lead from truth, not from need. The most powerful people in the world are not the ones who control others. They are the ones who master themselves, who've met every version of who they used to be and chose to grow anyway, who've looked their fears in the eye and walked through the fire, not because they weren't afraid, but because they were done living beneath their potential. That's you. That's the energy you carry. That's what people feel even if they can't explain it. You don't need to water yourself down to make others comfortable. You don't need to dim your light just to keep the peace. Peace that requires your silence isn't peace, it's control. You weren't made to be agreeable. You were made to be true. Your authenticity is your legacy, and no one can duplicate it because no one walked your path. No one cried your tears. No one stood in your shoes. Your energy is earned. Your aura is built. And now that you've stepped into it, protect it with everything you have. Protect your boundaries. Protect your standards. Protect your spirit. Not with aggression, but with clarity, with presence, with unwavering self-respect. Because when you honor your own energy, the universe honors you back in ways that can't be measured. Opportunities align, people shift, doors appear, because you've stopped playing a role and started living your purpose. That's what disturbs people the most. You didn't just wake up, you stayed awake. You chose to keep evolving even when it was painful. You chose growth over comfort, integrity over approval, depth over convenience. That choice radiates from your spirit, and not everyone will celebrate it. That's okay. You're not looking for applause, you're walking in alignment. And that is the most powerful thing a human being can do. So keep walking, keep rising, keep speaking with your silence and leading with your presence. Let your aura keep unsettling the illusions, shattering the masks, awakening the hearts. Because this world doesn't need more agreeable people. It needs more real ones. And you right now are living proof of what happens when someone finally decides to become who they were always meant to be. Let that be the energy you carry. Let that be the vibration you never lower. Let that be your legacy. People feel it when you walk into a room with nothing to prove, no masks, no performance, just presence. That's the kind of energy that doesn't chase anything, yet attracts everything. It doesn't beg for attention because it commands attention, not with noise, but with stillness, not with desperation, but with self-knowing. That's the energy of someone who has stopped outsourcing their worth, someone who understands their value isn't in how much they're liked, but in how true they are to themselves. You don't need to convince anyone of your light. Light doesn't argue. It just shines. And the right people feel it immediately, while others may flinch, shrink, or even try to dim it, not because you've done something wrong, but because they're still afraid to see their own. That's the effect of a powerful aura. It's not about being perfect, it's about being whole. And wholeness makes people feel their own fragmentation. That discomfort, that tension, it means your presence is doing exactly what it's meant to do. Awaken. You're not here to make everyone comfortable. You're not here to fit into roles that were never built for your spirit. You're here to break cycles, to heal bloodlines, to show a different way of living. That's why your energy can't be replicated. It's rooted in truth, cultivated in silence, forged in moments where you had every reason to quit, but chose instead to keep becoming. And now, Everything about you speaks without needing to say a word. There's a difference between people who walk with power and those who chase it. Chasers look for attention, seek applause, build identities on how they're seen. But the ones who walk with power, they don't need eyes on them to feel complete. They're not trying to be seen. They're just being fully, authentically, fearlessly. And that energy is magnetic, not because it tries to be, but because it's rare. You didn't become this version of yourself by accident. You got here by removing everything that wasn't real. Every belief that told you to be less. Every voice that made you question your worth. Every fear that said your truth was too loud, too bold, too different. You faced it all and chose to keep going. You chose honesty over approval, depth over performance, purpose over popularity. And that choice created a vibration in you that others can feel. Your aura carries the echoes of everything you've survived, every silent battle, every quiet comeback, every time you stood alone and still stood tall. That kind of energy isn't fragile. It's not needy. It doesn't beg to be understood. It exists fully and unapologetically. And it teaches others, not with words, but with presence. You don't tell people what's possible. You embody it. You show them. Let your stillness speak louder than noise. Let your clarity drown out confusion. Let your self-respect set the tone. You are not here to perform. You're here to embody what others are still searching for, wholeness. And wholeness is disruptive because it requires truth. It requires presence. It requires letting go of the roles that once kept you safe but now keep you small. Some people will project onto you. They'll call your peace arrogance, your boundaries rudeness, your power intimidation. But that's not your concern. Their projections are not your identity. You do not have to explain your light to those still committed to their darkness. You do not have to dim your glow for those who are afraid to shine. Let them misunderstand you. Let them talk. Let them walk away. Your job is not to be digestible. Your job is to be real. And real is rare. Real is sacred. Real is powerful in a world that rewards performance. That's why your aura stands out. It's not what you wear. It's not what you say. It's what you carry. It's the frequency you emit, a frequency born from authenticity, one that doesn't beg for attention, but demands alignment. People either rise to meet it or fall away. That's not rejection. That's redirection. Keep trusting that. Keep trusting yourself. Your journey isn't about how many people clap for you. It's about how fully you show up for yourself, how deeply you honor your own voice, how consistently you choose your peace even when it's lonely. Because the kind of power you carry can't be rushed and it can't be faked. It's built over time, built in silence, built in self-trust. And once it's fully activated, it can never be taken from you. You are not for everyone, and that is your strength.